Welcome back, baseball fans. The 1974-77 Carryover League Round 7 draft results. And actually, it's the year of 75 now. And believe it or not, there are more guys. I tell you, it seems like in these 4 years, the squeeze has really been put on the 1975 box. Like, oh God, not that again. And now they need, in the last couple rounds, 77 and 76, they needed, I think, 14 and 13 players. I need to add 21 of 32 teams need a guy in this round. So we'll just get right to it. Got to get cracking here. Kansas City, this is a really nice move here. They need a starting pitcher, and in 1975, Jim Hughes not only is a starting pitcher, but he can pitch on 3 days rest. He's the top available guy to do both of those things. He's a starter 8, and he pitched for the Twins. Not anymore. He pitches for a division rival now, a team that went to the playoffs. This is how, you know, if you were the worst team a year ago, there's a reasonable chance you can go worst to first, or at least attempt to, and Kansas City just took a Minnesota player. All right, the Marlins, with their pick, needed a left-handed hitting utility infielder, and it's exactly what they found on waivers. And it's Mike Phillips. He seems to always make the league for those particular traits. Sometimes he hits lefties, sometimes he hits righties. He was with the Cardinals. Guys like this, they have usually one-year contracts, and they just keep bouncing around to a new team who needs, well, an extra left-handed bat, and he can play all the infield positions. So, yeah. It's funny, but these guys last longer than a corner outfielder who might hit 280 for his lifetime in a platoon, because those guys are dime a dozen. But the Mike Phillipses of the world are a little more necessary in our league. All right, speaking of corner outfielders who are dime a dozen, the Cubs found a nice one, actually. Pulled Walt Williams out of retirement. Could have been a case where he didn't have a 1974 card. So if you can't put him on the waiver list, then he has to go to the retirement list. And there are a couple guys who are really good at this sort of thing, and Walt Williams is one of them. You see, he can be an everyday playing DH, and Billy Williams, you move to DH. You don't have to. Put Billy Williams back in left field. He can catch the ball better than this guy. Also might be the best hitting second baseman on the team, as Manny Trio and Jack Brohammer kind of struggle. He's got a home run 8 on the right side. Used to be an ace stealer. Not anymore, but still, Walt Williams is getting up there. Was he 31 now? I think it's his last year in the league. All right. The Seattle Mariners, nice pick here, took another guy off of waivers whose best year of the 4 just happens to be 1975, and it's Jerry Terrell. Here he is. They needed a second baseman who could also be a utility infielder. That's what he mainly is. And he's a switch hitter, and look at this. He's really balanced. It's 285. He was a Twins infielder. Another Twins player taken off the board through Detroit. Detroit had put him on waivers a year ago, and now he's with the Seattle squad. All right, next up, Vegas. After a team previously, the Cubs opened up that retirement envelope. The Vegas started to realize, hey, there's actually some guys here. It's like going down to the basement and cleaning it out and finding some cool old stuff you had when you were a kid. They're finding some neat looking stuff on the retired list. They needed a defensive third baseman, Las Vegas did, to come into the games after Kurt Bavacqua has to leave games, and they found Rod Gilbreth, who doesn't have a 1974, so he didn't make waivers. But he's your third baseman who can play versus lefties, but mostly come into play the last at-bat of all the games that Kurt Bavacqua starts. So at least against lefties, they'll be really good the entire 9 innings. Against righties, Gilbreth might have to get one at-bat on the right side, but that's all right. a perfect platoon mate for Bavacqua. All right, the Padres. They needed a left-handed bat. It seems like every iteration of the Padres I put together always needs left-handed hitting for some reason. They needed a left-handed hitter. Position didn't really matter. They found 2B1. That's right, the top second baseman in undrafted free agency, left-handed bat Bob Sheldon, out of the Milwaukee system. No more. He's now with the Padres. You see, he can be an everyday player. Defense isn't very good, but that's not particularly important to the Padres. He hits righties better than Phil Garner does. So those guys could platoon, or Sheldon could be a DH. Garner could be your everyday second baseman. All right. The Blue Jays needed catcher versus lefty. And look at this. Catcher one available. And talk about catcher versus lefty to platoon with Milt May. You got John Amanda Walkenfuss makes his summer league debut after being a legend in the fall league in the advanced timeline. He is your catcher versus lefties. These dingers add up to a 7 and a 10 and an 11 shot on 9 with a double and a double 6, a 10 single in the walks. You add it all up and look at this percentage. 62% over in doo-doo land, right? That means that he's probably like a 220 hitter. He's a 229 hitter, but if you flip that platoon, you can turn him into a 270 hitter with a bunch of bombs. Smart move for the Blue Jays. All right, next, Cleveland had already improved Cliff Johnson earlier in the draft. We'll skip that. All right. Oh, that's the Royals. I went the wrong way. Sorry about that. Page down. There we go. Portland needed another outfielder, and they found center fielder too. So now we're getting deep into undrafted free agency in the year of 75, as the waivered players and the retired players and teams improving players options aren't appealing right now. They found this guy, Dave Moats, and this is kind of a card, and you look at it initially, you're not that impressed with it. Then you start adding the pieces together. The 2 in center field, the -1 arm, the power, the B stealer, the 15 runner, the bat handler, the walks. He just grows on you, folks. And his stats aren't really glamorous. Look at here, 21% on the nothing space. So that'll bring his average down 20 some odd points. He's a 274 hitter. You can make him a 300 hitter in a platoon. Right now he'll platoon with Chet Lemon on the Portland squad. All right, the Angels. They needed a shortstop desperately. They found SS1. What the heck? Available in undrafted free agency. And again, we saw catcher 1, CF2, and SS1. They're not going to the All-Star game, folks. But anyway, here is SS1. Here is Hector Torres, a 3 shortstop, mostly against righties. Full-time power. You see he's got a column of hits and a 15 shot over here. Left side, you put a, you just X that out. You don't want to go over on that side of the card. You don't have to. And Torres at 259 in the platoon. We can get him up to 275, no problem. The Rockies decided to improve Steve Olivares. It's funny, he used to be a DH, has played some third, has played some first. They're asking him to play right field now. Oofed. That's all right. He's got plenty of. Look at the walks on 5 and 6. Look at the OPS for Steve Olivares. Versatile guy. Don't need him over here, and you're seeing that theme, aren't you? Like, teams are looking at the one-way players who dominate, or compared to, with their. They dominate one side over the other, is how it should be said. A huge gap in either the lefty-righty platoon. That's what you're opportunistically looking for. All right, the Arizona Diamondbacks needed a starting pitcher. And believe it or not, R7 was the top righty available on the board. And its starting pitcher, Pat Darcy, yeah, that Pat Darcy, the same one, from the Cincinnati 75 Reds, 11-5 with a 3.58 ERA. Let's take a look at Pat. No, he's not going to be on Cincinnati. He's going to be on a Diamondback. Starter 6. Like him on the left side a lot. No homers. And Allen, you see 7 there. Just kind of ordinary against righties. But a fine pitcher for the Arizona expansion team. They also added, was it excuse me, like I said Arizona, I meant to say the Expos. The Expos add Pat Darcy. This Arizona he was on Arizona's 1975 individual season draft. My bad. The Expos took him out of the Arizona redraft. All right, next. Okay, the Yankees took Munson earlier. The Cardinals took Curtis earlier. The Brewers needed a third baseman. They thought of bringing Fregosi back, but they found that Dave Roberts, a star in 73 who had a disastrous 74, well, he's back again in 75. In a platoon at least. That's the theme, of course. Can't catch a cold. He's terrible defensively. But we want him on the left side where he does his damage. And actually, you could make him an everyday player. He'll hit you, you know. Look at the high percentage on the right side and the soul crushing he does to pitchers on the left side. So nice pickup for Milwaukee, who again, they're going to have a lot of currency left in this draft. All right, the Houston Astros needed an outfielder. They found RF2. Leon Roberts, who started with the Tigers, went to the Astros, went to the Mariners after that. They just need him to play in a platoon versus lefties. Your right fielder with a 3-1 arm. He'll platoon with Wilbur Howard. He's not fantastic. He's actually very symmetrical. So he and Wilbur Howard Howard could hit lefties fairly well as well. So that'll be kind of a game time coin toss between the two guys. So you want Wilbur Howard or Leon Roberts to play right field for you, with Cedeno in center and Jose Cruz in left. All right. Next, Boston. Hey, Boston, if you keep improving your team, you're going to need a lot of guys in the draft's over. And they're like, we kind of want to try for a World Series. So we saw them go for 77 Rice, 77 Evans, 76 Tiant. They traded Doug Griffin to the Phillies for Denny Doyle. So why not bump Denny Doyle up from a 260 hitter to a 297 hitter in 1975? I thought he led off. Did he not lead off for them in the 75 series? Even though he doesn't have a walk on his card. But he has a very high batting average, 297. No problem at all with lefties. He's your everyday second baseman, and he also doubles as your utility player. Denny Doyle on Boston. Look at it this way. The Red Sox can't get to a World Series without Denny Doyle, right? Okay. Next. The Rangers took Del Unser earlier. The Phillies. So they had a logjam that they figured out. They had Luzinski in the outfield, Gary Thomason at first base. Then they took a deeper dive and said, you know what? Let's put Thomason in right field. And let's move Luzinski to designated hitter. And let's get a better first baseman. And they did. A smart call. They got talking Tony Muser. His second best year is 75. He's hitting 273. 74, he hits 291. So they have an option. They could improve him to a 74 card in undrafted free agency. But for right now, without landing their own guy, Tom Hutton, slick fielding first baseman, they got the next best thing, Tony Muser. And in the complete merry-go-round of slick fielding first baseman, Jim Spencer ended up on the White Sox, where Tony Muser used to be. All right. Giants took Tito Fuentes earlier. The Yankees took Munson earlier. Oh, I'm going the wrong direction again. Page down. Okay, we'd have Unser, Muser, Fuentes. Page down. Now, the Tigers. The Tigers took Garrett earlier. Arizona took Steve Stone earlier. Here we are with the Twins. So the Twins needed a pitcher, but knowing they lost Jim Hughes earlier in this round to Kansas City, they did a really nice pivot. This is a team that had wretched left-handed pitching a year ago. They called up the Houston Astros, that was one of the two teams who had four lefties, and they made a deal. We'll show you that here. They traded their starting pitcher Joe Decker for Andy Hassler and a draft token, and Houston gets a player to be named later in this as well, because I don't know who else to add to the trade, but Houston wants a little bit more, and I don't feel like going to a second token, so they'll probably swap other players in this thing. But right now, Hassler is the prize in this trade. He slots in nicely, and the Twins are doing cartwheel wheels. They've been looking for a good left-handed pitcher. They have a number 3. Hassler fits behind Blyleven and Dave Goltz. So now they go to their 4, replacing Joe Decker, and they found pitcher number 9, Eric Rasmussen. Comparable to Joe Decker, maybe not. Starter 6, 4 days rest, under 200 innings. He's Harry here, but Harry doesn't mind if you call him Eric. So you have a lot of homers over there, but none over there. So again, the 4th starter, not that critical for the team. They're going to lean on Andy Hassler a lot as the number 3 option for the Twins. So nice recovery for the Twins in this draft. Next up, the Pittsburgh Pirates are known as the Boston Red Sox in Pennsylvania. They are doing the exact same thing the Red Sox did. Instead of Rice, it's Parker. And then instead of Evans, it's Stennett. And then instead of Tion, it's Candelaria. And then this time, the 4th guy they improved in consecutive order is Bruce Kison, who is happy to finally be a starting pitcher after being sent to the bullpen year after year after year. So they bumped him up to a 75 card as a starter 7. And he's really dominant for righties in a 51-50 split. Okay against lefties, like the single 6 there. A nice number 3 starter, Bruce Kison, to the Pirates. All right, Oakland took Raleigh Fingers earlier. Ohio players took Carlos May earlier. Mets improved Apotica earlier. The Reds are on the clock, and this is perfect. They needed a designated hitter. So they found Terry Crowley, who played for the Cincinnati Reds. I love it when the player goes to the team. Crowley was a pinch hitter for the 75 Reds, so he got a World Series ring for that. Now he's a designated hitter for them. Or, if you're crazy enough, you can actually put him at first base and give Tony Perez a day off. Or at least half a day off. And, yeah, he hits okay. This is going to be the high water mark for Crowley in his illustrious career. This is a 268. 1980 hits 288 for Baltimore. Actually, Terry Crowley has a fascinating 1979 for Baltimore, hitting 317, but as a pinch hitter, I think he hit 400. And Strat-O-Matic did not print that card, which is a shame. Okay, next up, speaking of Baltimore, Baltimore took their second catcher, Rick Dempsey. He of the New York Yankees still. So they got the guy from the Yankees sooner than later. He doesn't know how to throw out base runners yet. That's okay. Earl Williams is on this team, and Earl Williams has a -1 arm, believe it or not. So that'll work. And Dempsey's just your backup, and he can play more against lefties, doesn't have power. But Dempsey and Earl Williams will split the catching job in Baltimore. All right, speaking of player match fitting team, Atlanta needed a shortstop against lefties to platoon with Marty Perez. They found SS2. We saw SS1 and SS2 in this round. And it's their own guy, Larvell Blanks. against lefties. He's got power, and he hits lefties better than righties. I think Blanks was a Brave. Then he went to Cleveland. And I think he went back to Atlanta after that. Something like that. Kind of remember him ending up with Atlanta at the very end. I didn't realize he started there, but yeah. Orville Blanks was a Brave. Picked up by the Braves. Dodgers picked up Davey Lopes earlier. And the White Sox, love this pick. The White Sox needed a catcher. And the top catcher on the board is C2. You know, folks, I love it when a team drafts the player that they... Yeah, third time in a row here. Pete Varney was a White Sox in 75, platooned with Brian Downing. What a nice tandem of catchers. Shame one's not left-handed, but that's all right. Pete's got plenty of power. Could be an everyday catcher. 0 arm. Brian Downing's got a -1 arm. And the White Sox, all they got to do is add Wilbur Wood and one more right-handed pitcher to this roster, and they're ready to defend their championship from a year ago. So that's 7th round draft results. Hope you're enjoying this analysis, and we'll see you next time for round number 8.